strangers calling her a disgrace, accusing her of abandoning her baby brothers. But those baby brothers were born from my cheating ex's affair, and now his parents wanted custody of my daughters and a place to live in my house. That was their first mistake. The second, dragging the church into it, because I was about to destroy their saintly reputation with receipts. If you've ever dreamed of putting someone in their place after they try to ruin your life and your kids, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and settle in. Because this revenge, it's not just petty, it's poetic. You don't expect to lose your husband in a car crash. You especially don't expect that man to leave behind 2 sons with a woman you didn't even know existed. But that's exactly what happened. I'm a 46-year-old mom of 2 teenage daughters, 17 and 15. I thought I was holding my family together during the worst time of our lives, the sudden death of my ex-husband. But when he passed, he left behind more than grief. He left secrets. Painful, messy, gut-wrenching secrets. Because he'd been having an affair for years. And that affair didn't just wreck our marriage, it created 2 sons that we didn't even know about until shortly before he died. As if that betrayal wasn't enough, both he and his mistress passed in that same tragic accident, leaving behind those 2 little boys, orphaned. His parents, the girl's grandparents, decided that was their moment to step in and seize control. First, they tried to get custody of my daughters. Then they tried to move in with us, under my roof. Why? Because apparently, it's what their son would have wanted. Yeah, the same son who cheated on me, hid a second family, and lied to his own kids. Needless to say, we're in court over the custody nonsense. And as for the moving in, not a chance. It was supposed to be a good day. My youngest had just turned 15, and we decided to celebrate in a simple, sweet way, a trip to our local farmer's market. It's one of those community markets with fresh eggs, meats, flowers, and enough chocolate and baked goods to make any teenager's birthday feel special. I gave her a budget, told her to treat herself, and let her wander while I walked nearby. About an hour in, I felt that tug. You know the one, mom gut instinct. Just as I was about to call her, my phone rang. It was her, crying. She could barely speak. Mom, there are these women, they won't leave me alone. My heart dropped. I grabbed my eldest and ran. We found her backed into a corner of the market, surrounded by 6 older women. They weren't strangers. Not to me. They were from my ex-in-law's church. And they were berating my daughter, calling her unchristian, accusing her of being cold-hearted for not visiting her orphaned half-brothers, saying she was a bad sister, that she'd abandoned family. They didn't stop there. They blamed her, and by extension me, for the entire situation. If she was a real Christian, one of them spat, she'd support her grandparents. They're all they have left. That's when I snapped. I stepped between them, and my daughter like a lioness defending her cub. Go, I told my eldest. Pay for her things. Take your sister to the car. And then I turned on the women. And I let them have it. How dare they corner a child? How dare they judge us without knowing the full story? One of them actually said I was failing in my duties as a good Christian wife. My ex has been dead for a year. And even if he were alive, he cheated on me. With a woman he got pregnant twice. The only thing I failed at was believing in him. Security came, and we were all asked to leave. They followed me out like vultures, whispering, watching, feeding off the drama. That night, after my daughters were asleep, I got online and messaged a friend from that same church, one of the few I still respected. He apologized, profusely, then sent me a link. It was a post in the church Facebook group, written by none other than my ex-mother-in-law. It was a novella of lies. She claimed we had left her and her husband homeless and penniless, despite them inheriting my ex's entire personal bank account and life insurance. She said my daughters refused to see her, that I had poisoned them, that I was the reason they lost their grandsons. But the worst, she told the entire congregation that my ex's affair partner was our surrogate, that I couldn't have more kids, so she stepped in. And apparently, I rejected the babies because they were boys. Disgusting. That was it. No more playing nice. I had everything. Screenshots, emails, photos, texts, confessions, the truth. Because when my ex died, we were mid-divorce. That meant I still had all the evidence I'd gathered. And since the divorce hadn't been finalized, I had no legal restrictions on what I could do with it. I took the next day off. I went to a print shop and printed everything. Every text between my ex and his mistress. Pictures of them in our home. Messages where his parents encouraged the affair. Texts where they harassed my daughters. Emails where they blamed my girls for their father's death. One message, sent 2 days after the crash, called my girls bastards. Another said it was their fault he died because they exposed the truth, and I filed for divorce. I paid for high-quality, full-color prints. And then, I got crafty. I made custom binders. They look just like the prayer song packets the church hands out. Clean. Simple. Deceptively innocent. Inside, chaos. Page 1. A photo of my ex making out with his mistress in our living room. Faces visible. Hands very much where they shouldn't be. Below it, asterisk, the love story of John and Rose. Behind that, every damning piece of evidence I had. The lies. The betrayal. The manipulation. The harassment. Sunday morning, I walked into that church like a woman on a mission. Dropped the binders right at the back, where the spare hymnals are kept. No one checks those, but they definitely found them. The gossip mill exploded. People were furious. Not just at my ex, but at his parents. The saints they thought they knew had covered up adultery, harassed grieving children, and lied to an entire congregation. The pastor had to personally step in to moderate the Facebook fallout. Members were posting things so vile, it was almost R-rated. They tore into my ex and his mistress, shamed the grandparents, called out the hypocrisy. But here's the kicker. They still thought I was in the wrong for divorcing him. Yet somehow they understood. It was a test from the Lord, someone wrote. She stumbled, but her heart was broken. Perhaps one day, she'll return to the light. They even sent apology letters to my daughters and invited us to rejoin the church. Yeah, right. My ex-in-laws. They left the church in shame. My ex-mother-in-law made one final Facebook post, crying about how the elderly are forgotten and how her son would have taken care of her. With what? He didn't even take care of his own kids. The truth came out. And justice, it sang like a hymn. If that revenge gave you chills, hit that like button and drop a comment. Would you have gone that far, or would you have let karma do the work? And hey, if you want more stories where justice is served extra crispy, subscribe and stick around. We're just getting started. Let me know if you'd like this turned into a video-ready voiceover script with pacing cues, or want variations for thumbnail or titles.